Signore e signori, buonasera, benvenuti alla Casa Italiana Zerilli-Marimò della New York University. It's a great honor, a great privilege to welcome tonight here at Casa Italiana a legend of Italian music, and I would like to ask you to welcome very warmly Francesco De Gregori.
Buonasera, buonasera. Si sente? Sì. Grazie, grazie.
How many of you do not understand Italian at all? That's okay, don't be shy. Okay, so we'll do a bit of English, a little bit of Italian. Okay. E c'è Maria poi. So you're here for a concert that is going to take place tomorrow at Town Hall. By the way, I heard that there are a few more tickets free. So use this information, the login. Let your friends know that you're at Casa Italiana listening to Francesco De Gregori. And if they want, they can still have a chance to listen to him in concert tomorrow night at Town Hall. And I was under the impression, and understood it's a wrong impression, that the concert would be about your songs based on Bob Dylan, and it's not. It's going to be a concert that is going to cover all of your career, more or less.
Yeah, it's a concert that is not representing just one CD. It's not promoting one CD. It's, when I do a concert, normally I try to make a set list. You say like that? Mm-hmm. No, I try to play 20, 22 songs, 23 songs. That represent a part of my career that starts since I was 25 years old till now. So I don't like to do concerts just to promote an album, you know. I want to represent myself the way I feel, and I feel like the man who has written so many songs in his life that, you know, it's not just a commercial thing. It's not like showing up what I did in the last CD, but I want to represent all my artistic life. That is my pretesa, questa è la mia pretesa.
Ambition.
Yeah, that would be my ambition, yeah.
But Bob Dylan is...
I will do just one song of Bob Dylan tomorrow, or maybe two. It depends on Guido Guglielminetti. Guido Guglielminetti is here, is the bass player, and is the man who tells me exactly what to do on stage.
But Bob Dylan definitely is one of your authors. He's one of the singers that you have been listening to more carefully, along with several other American singers, songwriters. Tell us something about your relationship with American music, and how was it developed? How did it start?
I started listening music through the radio, and I used to listen to the music that my mother used to like. Most of that was opera. So my first impressions, my first musical impressions was La Traviata or Puccini or things like that. I couldn't understand the words, even if they were Italian, because usually the lyrical singers, they don't let you understand the words. You know, it's like Japanese for me, was more or less. But after that, I have to say that I have an elder brother. You say that, an elder brother? Yeah. He's 7 years older than I am, and he introduced me to the American music. It was in the early 60s, and he let me listen to Elvis Presley, actually. So Elvis was the first American musician that impressed me so much. It was so much different from the things that my mother used to listen to. And so I discovered instruments like electric guitars and drums, and I said, oh, that sounds good, yeah. So thanks to my brother. Thank you, Gigi. Gigi is the name of my brother. And what happened? That at a certain point, my brother brought in the house a very old guitar that belonged to my grandfather. Si dice? Belonged to my, yeah. And
his English is impeccable, isn't it?
No.
Give him
yeah,
a
but
hand,
I'm not
please.
sure, you know, sometimes
Yes, no,
And my brother was in love with Elvis. Let's go back to Elvis for just for one moment. Elvis is a sort of a bridge between Italian and American music, because one of his first songs that I heard was "It's Now or Never." That it's the translation in English of an Neapolitan song that's "O Sole Mio." This is pretty strange, and maybe this has some kind of connection with what am I here for, you know, Italian and American music that stick together in some way. And so from Elvis, the guitar of my grandfather, yeah, it was a very old guitar, and my father used to, my brother used to play that with, used to play cowboy songs, western songs, country songs. So my first impact with the guitar was with songs like "Hang Down Your Head, Tom Dooley," you know that. And this has a strong relation also with the movies that I started seeing at that time, that were Western movies. John Wayne, Ombre Rosse, I don't know the English title.
Red Shadows? No, Red something? No?
It's a famous movie. Okay. And also the movies and the comics as well, like Superman or Mickey Mouse. I was very young at that time, yeah. Donald Duck. And these have been my first impressions of American culture in my life. Music, movies, and comics. What else? Not food. Not food.
And you have not changed your mind. You stick to that.
Yeah, music increased in my life. You know, music became more and more important in my life. American music is still, I think, the roots of my music are still in American music, in part. But I feel that my music, also the music of my Italian colleagues, is important because there is a melodical side that American music has not. I think the American music in qualche modo è invidiosa, no? Invidiosa è una parola troppo brutta, ma it's, you know, they have blues, jazz, rock and roll, but not melody. Melody belongs to the European and mostly to Italian tradition, not just opera, but also the Neapolitan songs, you know. And I think that the beauty of some songs that I have written, that some other Italian authors have written, I'm not the only one, you know. But the beauty of these works is in the mix between rhythm and melody. Do you understand more or less what I say?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you.
And so, and people like Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan, when do they come into the picture? And what is particularly about Bob Dylan that fascinates you?
Well, Bob Dylan, he made a revolution in the music of the world. and I think that I am not the one who is so fascinated by Bob Dylan. Sometimes I happen to listen to something, also American artists, and I say, oh, it's just like Bob Dylan. You know, he impressed many. I don't think that one single author of songs now in these days can fare a meno di...
Can do without
the lesson of Bob Dylan. So I'm one among many others. And more than this, Bob Dylan had a look very impressive in those years. I'm speaking about the 1965, 1966. More or less the time that somebody shoot a documentary on Bob Dylan that is called Don't Look Back. David Painmaker made and he had such a powerful look that I was a young boy and I wanted to resemble him, but the problem was that he was a very small and skinny guy, and he had curly hair, and I was very tall. I didn't look like Bob Dylan at all. So, and that was a big problem. And I tried to overtake this, to overcome this negli anni successivi, in the next years, but I didn't succeed at all, as you can, you see that. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you something. Bob Dylan recently won the Nobel Prize for Literature, and some people were enthusiastic, some people were sort of skeptical about this choice. And it's something that comes up with you all the time, that people define you a poet, they call you a poet. And I know that you have mixed feelings about that definition about poet, because you have a very precise idea of what poetry is. And why don't you tell us what poetry is, and why do you think that you are not a poet? Contrary to our common belief.
I would say I'm not so expert in poetry. This is un'ammissione molto strana. It's a confession, but I'm not through poetry that much. I don't read so much poetry. But I'm sure that what I do and what Dylan does and what other songwriters do is not poetry at all. A song is a song because it has music and because it has a performance beside the music. So the words, the lyrics, the music, and the performer are all together. And you cannot separate these things. Otherwise, everything collapses. How can I say? You may happen to walk down the road and listen to somebody who walks on the sidewalk whistling some melody, you know? It happens sometimes, you know? But you never happen to see somebody who walks on the sidewalk reciting the lyrics of a song. Otherwise, you would probably call the police or I mean, the song is something that puts together many different things. I think the Nobel Prize has been given to Bob Dylan for the totality of his work, and I think it's good that it's the literature Nobel, but. This has not been given to Dylan for the lyrics. That would have been a mistake. I wouldn't agree with that, but I agree with the fact that Bob Dylan has given a Nobel for his whole work. Like, I mean, even Shakespeare, he didn't write things to be read, that had to be read. Shakespeare wrote things that had to be performed. But I think everybody would agree with me now that Shakespeare would inherit, avrebbe diritto, no? Would inherit a Nobel Prize for literature.
Would deserve.
Would deserve. Yeah, sorry. Or even Walt Disney. I would give a Nobel for literature to Walt Disney. Or I would give a Nobel for Literature to Federico Fellini. The concept of literature has changed very much in the last 50, 60 years. It's not just what can be printed on a page. It's something that can narrate the reality and the feelings of the people. And once only poets or writers could do that. Now movie makers or graphic novels or even perhaps singers can do that.
Would you accept, though, at least the fact that your text, your songs, can educate people to poetry, can educate people to listen to a language that is not the language of daily life, that is poetry par excellence, is not the language that we speak every day.
Listening to a song in another language can...
No, not in another language. In songs like yours that have a
educate.
No,
I don't think so. No, I don't even think that a movie or a book can educate nothing or nobody. I don't think an artist should educate somebody. An artist just must express himself and doesn't have the responsibility to make somebody else better than he is before. Otherwise, he wouldn't be a good artist. I love a lot of artists, writers that do not bring a good message. I mean, I like Céline, a French writer, as a writer. Ferdinand Céline is a great writer, but I wouldn't agree with his ideas, with his political ideas, and I don't care about that, you know. This is what an artist must do, just to be himself, not to, propedeutico.
It doesn't have to be didascalic.
Morality has nothing to do with art. This is my opinion.
And you've been faithful to this idea throughout your life. And in some moments in Italian history, it was not easy at all to have the kind of attitude and approach to art that you have. In the 70s, as we know, everything was extremely politicized, and you suffered somehow the consequences of being independent and of being the expression of an art that wouldn't serve any ideology, not even the ideology.
Well, in the 70s in Italy, we were in the middle of a great struggle. The young people were, and I was a young boy. We were all in a, in a period of great change, and also there also has been much violence at that time. But I don't think that what they call contestazione at the concert was the main thing, the worst thing that happened in those years. What happened is that there are many political groups that wanted an identification. They wanted to be recognized as important groups, sometimes extremist group, and they used any occasion they had to publicize this, si dice così?
To publicize themselves,
to publicize themselves,
publicity,
and they did this in the concerts, and this happened also in a concert of mine that became even too much famous. It hasn't been that important. We are still talking about that, but this is archaeological, si dice, but it happened to the Mostra del Cinema di Venezia.
Yes.
It happened in the universities, and it happened on the road. We a couple of years that were very, very violent, in which people were killed or injured by extremist groups. So I was just, I was in that time. I lived that time. I was, sono stato coinvolto. I was involved in that because that was the part of history that I happened to live in. I was a musician. There were part of public that listened to my music and found political messages in my, or thought that could find political messages in my music. And so this kind of equivoco, how do you say equivoco?
What?
Oh yeah, misunderstanding, you know. But you know, many years have passed. But what I say that I still can sing the songs that I used to write at that time. I will sing some of them tomorrow night in the town hall. But many of the things that those people used to say at that time couldn't be said today. Otherwise, they would be taken as mad people. You know, my songs still here, and some sentences that I used to listen to at that time, they look very crazy now, absolutely unbelievable. So I won.
Do you have any one of these sentences in particular in mind? Are you thinking of any that sounds now crazy compared to when you wrote it?
Well, I wouldn't answer this because I don't want to get involved in politics in any way, you know. But things have changed to call a song by Bob Dylan, so everything has changed. No, I don't remember one particular sentence, but many crazy things have been written and said at that time. Probably also many bad songs, maybe, you know. But that's what time is for, to put something that's belongs to the past in the shadow and keep the good things alive in the future. You understand?
Yes.
My poor English? Okay. You think they understand or no?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfettamente. And do you have...
You know, I have a little accent from Boston because I had a concert from Boston last night. I'm sorry.
That's where it was from. Yes, the day before yesterday, I posted a little note on Facebook saying, Francesco De Gregori is coming to the Casa. Do you have any question for him? Or which one is your favorite song? And I think it was the post that received the most overwhelming response. And I got 100, not like one-line comments or likes, but people like told me pieces of the stories of their lives and the reminiscence and what these songs evoked. And we were talking about that before with Francesco. And I asked him if he feels somehow responsible for this evocative power that his songs have.
Sometimes people come to me and say, okay, I want to an autograph, or can you do a picture together, you know? And I say, okay, I don't like that much, but I say, okay, because I know, I love them. I devo molto a tutti, no? It's,
I owe a lot.
Yeah, and so I say, yes, but after this, they start telling everything to me about their life, and they, you know, I had a boyfriend that left me, and now, and so and that's very hard for me, you know, because but I think because people, but it happens to me too. People find into the songs a part of their life. Songs are very simple. Songs are a very simple thing. They are simpler than a movie or a book, and so they rise emotions immediately in a very quick way. And do you understand that? Yeah. And so it's very easy for public, for people who listen to the songs to fall in love with the person who has written the song, and they think they know everything about the man that's behind the song, the man that wrote the song, and this is not true, you know. Maybe they know my song, but they certainly do not know me, not at the point that they can tell me about their private life. That sometimes is interesting, sometimes not. But it's and that sometimes it's a problem when they say that De Gregori is antipatico. Come si dice antipatico?
nasty and
nasty,
not friendly.
but I'm not nasty. I just, if we happen to have dinner together, maybe we can know each other a little better, and so I may be interested in your life, but not just if you ask me for a selfie, and then you start, oh.
And you were also saying that one of the features of the lyrics of your song is that not all of them, but some of them lend themselves to be interpreted in an open way, or they have multiple layers of interpretations that you can have, much more than the songs of some colleagues of yours. Could this be a reason why people sort of attribute their own stories or identify with their song? Because Alice becomes who they think they are, or they identify in Rimmel?
Yeah, probably can be like this. And I think a song or any piece of art it's an open, can I say this, an open puzzle. Mm-hmm. You understand? It's something that doesn't have just one solution. It's not a mathematical operation, it's un'equazione, come si dice?
Equation.
It's not an equation. A piece of art is not an equation. It doesn't have one answer. And it can be interpreted in so many different ways. The movies that I loved in my life, they are open to many different interpretations. One title for all of them is Otto e Mezzo by Federico Fellini. I happened to watch this movie maybe 10, 12 times in my life, and each time I found in that movie something different. And this is the power of that movie. This is the power of a song, of a book that doesn't have one interpretation. Otherwise it would be a bad movie or a bad book. And so modestly belongs also to my songs. At the time when I wrote Alice, that's one of the most complicated songs I've ever written. I was impressed by the literature of the Dadaism. You know what Dadaism is, yeah?
Dada, yeah.
And I had read a few books of those authors, and I was trying to write something in that style, you know. And so probably it was really ununderstandable. You say that, but stranamente, strangely, people like that. I was perseguitato. I was persecuted by people who came to me at the time and said, I hate you because you write songs that I don't understand. Okay, but why are you here? Because I like it. And so what do you want from me? If you like something that you don't understand, it's not my problem. You know. But this is the right atteggiamento, mood, attitude to face a piece of art. Okay, not understanding. If I always speak about a painting that I love very much, that's Guernica by Pablo Picasso. That painting can be explained in a very simple way because it's just the story of the bombing of a town, of a small town in Spain during the civil war in Spain. But if you look at that painting just thinking about that, you don't understand nothing of the painting, you don't understand nothing of Picasso, and probably you don't understand nothing of war, of the feelings that war can eccitare. Okay? You must go al di là della cronaca, al di là you must Spiegami tu, non so come dirglielo, non so parlare bene.
You must go beyond the simple historical interpretation or allegory that Guernica represents the bombing of this small town in the Basque
Or else la Divina Commedia. No, okay, it's one guy, Dante, who goes through the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso, and finally he finds God. Okay, that's not the Divina Commedia, it's something more than this, you know.
Why Francesco asked me not to play too many songs, and I've been good so far, not even one. You asked me not to play too many songs.
But possibly not.
Can we have a few lines from Alice, since you mentioned it?
You want me to sing them for you?
No, they told me you wouldn't want to sing. Like the artist from the Metropolitan.
You have a CD?
Yes, we have it.
Okay, let's listen to Alice.
Thank you.
I mean, I love this arrangement. I love this very old song, and I love the voice that I had at that time. But it's quite different from now. You know, it's quite different. We try to do the same, but we do not succeed in that. Also because we don't want to do the same. After 40, this song has been written in 1972. Mm-hmm. It scares me to say this, but you know, it's 1972, and everything was different. The technology in the studio, in recording studios, was different. And this could seem to you a trivial question, but it's very important. The instruments were different. I was different as well, and so okay, it's archaeology. But that's a good song. Yeah, that's I would like to write another song like this tomorrow, but you know, it's pretty strange to listen to this in front of you. No, I never listen. I never play back my old records. I don't happen to listen to my old CDs normally. I don't have any reason to do that, you know. While I can play them a new version. Yeah. Okay.
I think we can open up to the audience if you agree, and if you have any question for Mr. De Gregori. Yes.
I heard about your American influence. What about the Italian sense?
Italian influences. Yeah, very important. Before Bob Dylan, I used to listen to the Italian cantautori that were just a few years older than I was, and I mean people like Fabrizio De André, mostly, and Gino Paoli, Sergio Endrigo, Enzo Iannacci, people who used Italian language to renovate the Italian way of writing songs. And that influenced me very, very, very much. At a certain point, the Beatles came in, the Rolling Stones came in, and naturally Bob Dylan came in. And they intertwined in some way, you know. It wasn't easy for me, because different styles, different argumenti, different topics. But you know, the image of those people with the electric guitars and the band backing them was so strong and so powerful that it was fascinating for me. While improvvisamente, sharply, people like De André or Gino Paoli lost their, fascino.
Charm,
lost a little of their charm for me. I wanted to be the singer in the band at that point. Unfortunately, I didn't have a band at that time. But the first band that I had was a band composed by young jazz Roman players, and they were very, very supponenti, arrogant, because they play jazz, you know. So when somebody comes to you and says, "I play jazz," you feel like a poor guy. You know? I don't. What can I say? But they, you know, it was work, so they were, assunti da me. They were on the
hired by you.
Yeah, they were hired, and they were happy to get some money. But they really didn't know how to play my music, and I didn't know how to teach them to play the music. I used to tell them, change the chord when I say the word Alice, this is not the right way to speak to a musician, because they usually count the bars, and that's the right way. No, you understand when I say count the bars? No, 6 bars of C and 4 bars of D and 8 bars of G. But I couldn't speak that way at the time. I used to say, just change the chord when I say the word Alice. And I said the word Alice anytime in a different point of the song. So it was crazy. It was just crazy. And now I have a better band now. You should buy the ticket for tomorrow and you will check it. You know,
and some members of your band are here with us tonight?
Yeah, there's a capo banda, Guido Guglielminetti, if he's still here. Oh, I don't know if he ran off or not. Are you still here, Guido, somewhere? No, he probably went off. I don't know. He got bored. No, because he listens to me all the time, so today is too much.
Sally.
So I will be there tomorrow night. Very
Thank you.
excited to be there. You know, it's funny that you say that people would tell you well, the stories of their lives, but I think so many of us here would ask our boyfriends to sing One Notte Fiorellino to them when they went to sleep, because that was the perfect song. You just meant so much to us, and I so look forward to it. I guess I wondered why you had never come to the States. I mean, when we had to describe who you were to people here, because we were living in Italy at the time, it would always be, he's so similar to the Bob Dylan of the United States. That's how I would have described you.
Credo di aver capito. I think I understood, but not too much. I want.
Sally è brevissima. Lei.
Si spiegava se dovevamo dire agli amici a casa chi era Francesco De Gregori, dicevamo che eri Bob Dylan dell'Italia, e questo è come spiegavamo chi eri tu negli anni che vivevamo in Italia. Comunque grazie.
No, grazie.
Come mai non sei mai venuto qui?
E non mi avete mai chiamato. No, non lo so, non è mai successo. Sono contento che succeda adesso e spero che, I hope it will be again, I will come back again very soon. You know, for me it's very important to. And I would say there is a sort of debt that I pay coming here to play my music, because I took so much from American music that coming here and play my music in front of an American audience is like to pay a debt. And quello che mi incuriosisce di più, what's more interesting for me in the things that I will do tomorrow, is that I will play a song of Bob Dylan translated in Italian. This is very, very, very strange, because, you know, it doesn't make sense, you know, apparently. But I like the song. I like the way it sounds in Italian. I think that Italian is a very good language, very musical, and if I still had some doubts about doing or not this song in Italian tomorrow, questi dubbi mi sono passati.
These doubts have gone away, disappeared.
Gone away when I happened to be in a concert of Bob Dylan in France, in Paris, 8 months ago, in which he sang in English Le Feuille Morte de Yves Montand. So he was singing in English something that belonged to France, and he had no problem. So I even probably because Yves Montand was not in the audience, but I'm sure that Bob Dylan won't be in the audience tomorrow night, unfortunately, and so don't tell him. Okay?
But in the 60s and 70s, many of your colleagues, even authors of songs like Gino Paoli that you mentioned, and Andrea, they translated a lot of songs by other authors like Georges Braque and Jean-Manuel Serrat, right? So they alternated the songs that they wrote, original, and they did translate a lot of songs by
I
other
think it's
authors.
important translating songs, because it's like translating books. It's put people in a relation, and let the people know something that has been written in another language that can be important. I mean, obviously La Divina Commedia is much better in Italian than in English or in French, but what the French or English culture would be if La Divina Commedia wouldn't have been translated in their language, or for us Italians, if Shakespeare wasn't translated in Italian. I mean, translating. In Italy we say translating is betraying. Mm-hmm. You understand that? Yeah, it's real. You lose something. You lose a good part of the original part while translating, but you keep a little part of that, and that's important. That's important. I would say that translating a song is more difficult than translating a book or just or poetry, because you have to devi tenere conto.
You have to keep in mind.
You have to keep in mind of music as well. You must keep each line, each verse. The music is un problema in più. It's one more problem respect than translating a book. Yeah, yeah. But it's a challenge that it's very exciting, and I had fun while doing this work of translating Bob Dylan.
Yes.
Francesco, you mentioned the Roman jazz band.
Yeah.
You started with other Roman songwriters that have given so much to the city. What has been and what it is the relationship, your relationship with Rome, the city?
With the Romans?
No.
Con la città, con Roma città.
Well, it's my town, you know. I was born there. My father was born there. My grandfather was born there, and so I love it. It's a big town with the problems of a big town. So, banalmente, trivially, the traffic, too many tourists. This is what the way the town changed. When I was 30 years old to now, it's more complicated to live there. You know, I would say it's not a town for old people, but I'm not so old at this point. I can survive for maybe 15, 20 more years there. Now it's a wonderful town. You know. I say the Colosseum, all the Fori Imperiali, Piazza Navona, all the historical architectural beauties of this town are very, very important. But if you are used to that, you don't even notice them anymore. You just see the problems of a big town like Roma sometimes, you know. But if you happen to wake up early in the morning and to go walking by yourself without too many people around you, I think it's one of the most beautiful towns in the world. Roma.
That was my complaint.
I should write more songs on Roma, about Roma. Yeah, why not? It may happen, yeah. It could be an idea. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I think the most beautiful thing about your songs and your music is how naturally the music and lyrics are interconnected with each other. Although I can tell that probably most of the time you think first about the lyrics and then you put the music. So I was wondering, I don't know if that is actually true, but so I was wondering if there are some songs where specifically you thought about, you conceived first the music and then I think one of these could be Alicia actually, I'm not sure. And are there...
Yeah, Alicia, I wrote the music before the lyrics, a long time before the lyrics, maybe three.
Read this somewhere, maybe it's not.
Yeah, probably you did.
I was wondering if there are others that specifically you really conceived.
Normally I write them together, you know. I start with the line of lyrics or just with the title.
You just one and follow the others.
Yeah.
Not just first
Yeah.
the lyrics and then...
Because they're really connected, you know. But when somebody asks me like this, where you start from, I usually answer like with another question. What do you usually listen to first, music or lyrics when you listen to a song? You know, and the answer is not easy. You listen to them together, and I write them together, except some particular cases like Alice or also La Donna Cannone. I wrote down part of the music before and the lyrics, but I completed the music after writing the whole part of the lyrics. There is not a rule. There's not a system. If there should be a system, I would like to know that. So I think
this is a really good thing, because there is one thing that I noticed in so many other Italian artists, colleagues of yours, is that sometimes the lyrics seems to be squeezed in the music. They're not as natural as in songs like yours and some other. Like, for example, in songs of Battisti, which I loved a lot, but that was to me pretty clear most of the time that there was some music and then the lyrics were put on top.
because they were two different people, because the lyrics.
But I guess they collaborated with each
Yeah,
other.
but
Often the result was not.
yeah, but I don't think it's a bad way to work on a song. I don't think it's a bad work. Many big songs, all the tradition of the great American songs are written. Those songs are written by a couple of people normally. So
in some of the cases, even Lucio Battisti, which is considered really, to be really great, and I agree, but sometimes things didn't sound so natural to me as it does in the songs that you wrote. And
yeah, you know, a Roma we say me la canto e me la scrivo. Okay.
Anyway.
And we are not going to translate that. Yes, Simone.
Yes, hi. Is there any album that you could go back if you would not rewrite?
I'm sorry.
Any album that you would not rewrite if you could go back?
C'è un disco che se potessi tornare indietro non faresti?
No, I wouldn't. No. I don't say I like them all, but I needed to release them all. Even some of them that honestly could have been done better, but this happens in the life of an artist, you know. No, I'm happy with all of them. I wouldn't throw one of them in the
Garbage.
in the garbage. No. You know, performing live let me correct sometimes what I think would be errors while recording them in the studio 10 or 15 or 20 years before. This is a privilege that people like me can have, you know. While a painter paints something, and if after 20 years doesn't like it anymore, he cannot do nothing, you know. The painting is still there. He cannot go by night and correct it in the museums or in some private houses. I don't like that color. I want to check the blue. It was not. I wanted green. And no, he cannot do that. I can do things like this while performing live a song of 20 years before, and this is what I do.
Yes. The lady behind you, then you.
Sorry?
Come vuoi, anche in italiano va bene.
Italiano.
La prima domanda è qual è la canzone che lei ama cantare di più delle altre durante i suoi concerti e i suoi repertori, e la seconda è chi è l'agnello di Dio della sua canzone.
Chi è l'agnello di Dio? Ma di solito amo cantare di più inevitabilmente le canzoni che ho scritto più di recente, perché sono più nuove per me e quindi in qualche modo è ancora un modo di impararle, o suonano fresche nelle mie orecchie come se le avessi scritte un altro. Questo non vuol dire che non ami cantare, parlare tutto italiano, capite tutti, vero? Che non mi piace cantare anche quelle vecchie come Alice, insomma. Questo credo di aver risposto alla prima domanda in qualche modo. L'agnello di Dio, chi è l'agnello di Dio? È una canzone che cita una issue della religione cattolica. L'agnello di Dio è colui che toglie i peccati dal mondo. Io scrivendo questa canzone volevo testimoniare il fatto che la spiritualità, la bellezza, la religiosità e l'innocenza non si trovano soltanto nelle persone, fra virgolette, per bene, ma si trovano anche nelle persone, fra virgolette, per male. Quindi parlo di una prostituta, parlo di un soldato, parlo ma è una canzone fortemente. Io non sono un uomo che va in chiesa, ma sono molto legato alla spiritualità del Vangelo. Il Vangelo dice esattamente questo, che il peccatore porta in sé i segni della redenzione e della spiritualità. Questo è il messaggio cristiano, e quella canzone nel piccolissimo ambito della canzone, che è qualcosa che dura 3-4 minuti, forse 6 nel caso dell'Agnello di Dio, semplifica questo che secondo me è un sentimento, un concetto molto importante, che fa parte della mia vita, è qualcosa che io condivido, qualcosa che io penso intimamente, insomma.
Yes.
Most guitarists make a fundamental choice to go either acoustic guitar or electric guitar. What attracted you to the acoustic guitar? You were never tempted to just pick up an electric guitar. Even Dylan went electric.
Well, I'm not a good guitar player. No acoustic, no electric. Electric is more difficult, and I prefer to hire good electric guitarists than try to play electric guitar by myself. Also because I live in a condominium No, actually, sometimes I try to play a little electric guitar, but and it's just an instrument for me, the guitar. Instrument, it means that I need the guitar just to write the song and to show to the band the way it must be played by the others. But unfortunately, I've never been a good guitar player. I'm sorry, but I need one more life to become a good acoustic guitar player, and 2 more lives to become a good electric guitar player.
Yes.
What would you say is the role of la musica popolare in your work? Perché mi viene da parlare di musica dei lavori. What's the influence of la musica popolare?
How much did the music popolare influence me? Very much, a lot. I started my career as a performer in a small club in Roma that was called Folk Studio, and actually it was founded by an American guy who lived in Roma and founded this very small club in which they used to play any kind of music, from jazz to folk, rock, cantautori like me, and also a lot of Italian popular music. And so I had the chance to meet personally most of them, and they were people so honest with music and so representative of what Italian popular music was, that I was so influenced by them. Yes, that's why after many years finally I could make an album with Giovanna Marini that I met at that time in that club. So it was il coronamento di un circolo. How do you say?
Crowning of a...
Yeah. And unexpectedly, that CD sold a lot. It was a big success. And nobody expected that. La Casa discografica, the record company, was surprised. You know, they printed about 20,000 CDs, and at the end they sold 200,000. So Giovanna and I were very, very happy. Giovanna bought herself a new car with that, and me too.
Yes, Stefano.
Yes, your relationship with movies and soundtrack. Like, say, Simon and Garfunkel had that famous movie, The Graduate, but I think the music is the movie, right? So, do you wish some of your music, some album in particular, or something you wish would become, because there's still time, the soundtrack for a great movie?
I think that some of my songs could fit in some movies, but I think that at that point I would like to record them again in a new version, because I don't like the old sound, a sound that is dated.
Yeah.
Alicia, the one we were listening to before, has a sound that's very dated, and I think it couldn't fit with a movie shot in these days. So the song itself could work with the movie, but I should record this again. This is my opinion. Yeah, but The Graduate is one movie. Normally, it's not easy to find a movie in which songs are the soundtrack. Normally, the soundtrack is made by just by the music. You know, another movie with the songs inside is a movie by Altman. In Italian, is I Compari. I don't know the English title, in which most of the songs are by Leonard Cohen, but also Easy Rider has a soundtrack made of songs, but I can't remember many movies in which the soundtrack is made of songs.
But when in the past of the time, did you wish, like when you were, let's say in the 70s or 80s, did you wish that some of your music, contemporary music, and then more
Oh.
producing will?
If they asked me at that time, I probably would have said yes if I liked the movie. Otherwise, not. You know, you must be. Of course, you must like the movie. Otherwise, you say no. And, anyway, I did it. I did it for a movie with Monica Vitti. I know you know Monica Vitti.
Yeah.
And
It's a film
just
that
to
is
make an experience, because it's different. You know, normally I write with words more than music, but they asked me to do the music, and so I said, why not? So I went into a studio and did some pieces of music for that. But it's not my job, really. Morricone or Piovani, those are big soundtrack scrittori, musicians.
authors, composers of
Yeah,
soundtracks.
yeah,
Yeah.
there is a technique to do that I ignore totally. So, okay.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite concert town where you actually more connected to the public?
No, I wouldn't say so. No, not in Italy, not outside of Italy. I think people like you, people are all the same. But this is not an offense. This is, you understand, I say
Yeah.
this because I respect and love all the people who want to listen to my music. So it doesn't make any difference for me to play here or there in a big theater or in a historical theater or in a very small movie house. No, it doesn't make any difference to me.
Yes.
A couple of questions. We've talked a lot about your influences and what you used to listen in the past. I would be curious to know if there are any new groups or recent groups that you listen to and you enjoy listening to, either Italian or American or other countries. And the other question is, do you actually sing and play for fun with your friends? Meaning, do you find it still something that you can detach from your work, from your job?
Well, if the question is if sometimes I call my friends and say, come up to my house and let's play something together just for fun, the answer is not. But anytime that I meet the band to do something for work, you know, I mean rehearsing for a concert or preparing a new CD, I have fun. So, you know, that's important. That it's not boring for me play music, but normally I play music now when I have to play for a project, you know. And I always had projects in my mind, because I have an idea, and I call a couple of musicians and say, and tell them to come over into a studio and try to shape it, and sometimes it doesn't come out nothing good, no. But I mean I try to play that because I have fun in doing that, and this is important.
I think actually before his question was a little different. That he meant like, of course you're going to work and you're having fun.
Yeah.
It's very hard not to have fun with your work. My work is not as much fun, but yours is beautiful.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry for you.
But I think his question was more like, you know, you get together with your friends and you're having a glass of wine and discussing it. You know, this is something more.
It may happen, but it's not often. Not often, you know. I have a house that's full of guitars, and but when my friends come in, and some of them play guitar. Also, it may happen that after dinner we take a guitar and play something together. But after a while, we don't remember the chords, and guitars are not well tuned, and we are a little drunk after dinner. We don't want to, you know. When you do this professionally, inevitably, when you play something, you want to be perfect when you are professional, and so if you're not perfect, you drop it and do something else, you know.
The first question, if there are any groups, contemporary groups that you like? Or
That's quite embarrassing to me, because I don't listen to much music. Normally I listen to the radio. I like something, but I rarely remember the names. The music, molto di moda adesso, no? Come si dice?
Very fashionable now.
Fashion is rap, and rap is considered a category. I don't think it's a category, because there are some rappers that I love very much. Don't ask me about their names, possibly. But in Italy, there's the young guy who's called Caparezza. I love him. He plays real good music. Huh? He came to New York. Yeah, and he's going to release a new album in a few days, or it's just been released. And Caparezza is one of my favorite artists. He's not the one, of course, but some of them are too young for me, you know. And inevitably, I learn a new word.
Bravissimo.
Inevitably, I am more connected to people of my generation. Why should I say a lie to you now? I want to say the truth, you know. But I sometimes I happen to listen to something very interesting and stimulating through the radio, no, while driving usually. But I don't know the name of the man who does that. But I say that's good music. You know?
One last question, yes.
Bene. In Italia? Nel mondo? Sai, uno che ha avuto la fortuna di nascere a Roma, è difficile che poi desideri, ma non per togliere niente alle altre città, insomma, in Italia ci sono delle città meravigliose. Milano è bellissima, Torino è un'altra bellissima città, non parliamo di Napoli, non stiamo a fare una classifica, parliamo di dove stiamo qui a New York, insomma, molti italiani che conosco, giovani, anche meno giovani, sono venuti a vivere qua, a studiare qua, ci stanno per un anno, per 6 mesi, a volte ci si fermano. Il mondo veramente si è ravvicinato molto, e quindi anche l'idea di scegliere una città al posto di un'altra ha meno senso rispetto a quando avevo 20 anni io, dove poteva essere una scelta definitiva e anche estetica. Oggi le città, ecco, una cosa brutta forse è che le città tendono a somigliarsi un po' tutte di più. Ecco, ci sono dei posti in tutte le città del mondo che potrebbero essere indifferentemente qui, a Barcellona, a Roma, a Parigi, a Londra, ecco, hanno perso un po' le loro caratteristiche. Come, essendo io nato a Roma, francamente io non la cambierei con nessun'altra città. Non per un lungo periodo perlomeno. Ecco.
Thank you. I think we have used all the time that we had, and I think we had a great opportunity to get to know Francesco De Gregori up close and personal, as much as a person like him would let us into his own private sphere. And I think we all understand now why he really deserves the nickname of Il Principe.
Il Principe, no.
Ti piace questo
nickname,
soprannome?
No, Lucio Dalla gave me this nickname. Oh, bravi, bravi. This is a good applause. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you. But Lucio was joking. Just, you know, we were touring together many, many years ago, and he was more social than I was, and so he, you know, mi prendeva in giro. He
made fun of me. He mocked me.
He made fun of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Saying, you looking like a prince. You looking like a just because he wanted to do interviews here and there. He could see a journalist 3 kilometers, and he was running to me. I want to make it, and I said, oh. I got bored of that. Let's go and have a pizza together instead of picking it with the journalist. And he said, because you're a prince, you're going to make the pizza. I want to put some. It was a joke, you know. But
it sticks. Ti sei attaccato.
Yeah, mi si è attaccato. But I'm not a prince. I'm a poor. You know the poor?
Yes.
Okay. I'm on the side of the poor.
Thank you. And with this, we welcome you again to New York.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And
thank you, American, come diceva Alberto Sordi.
And remember, tomorrow at 8 o'clock at Town Hall, the concert of Francesco De Gregori. There are still tickets available.
Just one thing. Have you seen a movie by Alberto Sordi, with Alberto Sordi, that is called Un Americano a Roma? That's beautiful.
Maccheroni,
Okay, thank you very much.